Hey, it's Matt Webley here. Hope you're doing all right. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how I built a SaaS startup from scratch. I'm going to give you the story. So if you don't know me, I've done over $23 million online. I've been basically a full-time entrepreneur, online entrepreneur since about the year 2000. I incorporated my first company in 2002. For probably 10 years of that, I didn't do anything. But still made good money online. And for almost the last 10 years, I've been, my primary business model online has been software as a service. I've got a few small B2B-ish tools that mostly service e-commerce sellers. And yeah, done over $12 million and counting in a very passive way. I do one meeting on that business. I mean, really it's 3 meetings, but it's all rolled into one with my business partner. So essentially 1 day a month, I do about 3 hours of talking, 1 day a month, and that's what I do. And we're currently at 100K plus per month in that business. So yeah, the world's changed. The world is changing. I've been doing it almost a decade for software as a service. Like I say, selling online for over almost 25 years or whatever it is. So I've got a unique perspective, having been in the trenches, done that, been there, got the t-shirt in loads of different business models, software as a service being one of them. And the reason why I'm so focused on software as a service right now is because it has always, since probably the dawn of the internet, or near enough the dawn of the internet, it's probably always been one of, if not the best business model online. So if you go back to like, maybe it started in 1998, but Aweber, right? Aweber, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's an old school autoresponder. So all it does is you create emails and it emails your list in a sequence. So you could create a sequence of 100 emails to drip out like one email every 2 or 3 days or something like that. And essentially that would be like a year's worth of emails getting dripped out of timeless emails to an autoresponder list. So it automates follow-up of your email list. It just pings them out. So if they join today, they get email number 1 today. And then in 100 days, maybe they get email number 50. But if they join in 6 months from now, they get email 1 then. So it essentially, you can create a timeless sequence of marketing emails to nurture a lead, indoctrinate a lead, and essentially turn a lead to a customer. That's the idea, basically. That's what most people use Aweber for. But Aweber, I can't remember the exact launch date, but maybe it was like 1998, and we're in 2025 now. So what's that, 27 years old, if it was launched in 98? 27 years old, and I don't know what their revenue is. It's definitely going to be in the tens of millions. I would imagine it's more. But for 27 years, are you telling me he's been slogging hard for 27 years? No, of course he's not. Right place, right time, good idea, executed fairly well. I say fairly well because I don't think Aweber's the best autoresponder out there, but it's definitely stood the test of time. It's been around for a long time. I was a customer for something like 20 years. I cancelled it because they changed the pricing structure on me, which they promised to never do, but they did it, so I cancelled. I don't know if that was a good decision or a bad decision on them, but it is what it is. But anyway, it's always been the best business model, or one of the best business models. Like if you compare it against almost anything else online, it either stands up really well or it beats it. So like whatever the business model, and I've done them all. I've done e-commerce, I've done drop shipping, I've done print on demand, I've done selling information and courses and masterminds and coaching, all of them. Pretty much all of them. There's not much I've not done online from a business model point of view because I'm a bloody shiny object chaser like everyone else. And when you get bored and you're comfortable, you're making a few 100K a year or something like that in your 20s, you start dabbling, you know, and you try stuff. So I've got a unique perspective anyway. So essentially, long story short, made over $10 million selling information, opened a nightclub with my internet money, did that for a few years, enjoyed it. It's like living in a gangster movie. It's crazy. Got so many stories. I should probably make a channel all about them, but I don't see any benefit to it for anyone or me really, other than some old timer telling you how real gangster movies are when you're in the nightclub game. And then once I'd done that a bit, I came back online, trying to find what's something to do, like in the new era, having spent 5 years out and probably 5 years semi-retired as well before that. So it's like I'd spent a decade out of it, just making passive income from what I'd done before. So I'd essentially semi-retired in my late 20s, opened a nightclub, played around at that, and I came back online, and I started doing e-commerce, and then started talking about my journey, building a community, building a YouTube channel, not this one, an old one, and just I built up a bit of an audience, all specifically around kind of, it was Amazon at the time. Now, I never was no big Amazon seller. I've done private label, I've done online arbitrage, I've done retail arbitrage, I've done wholesale, I've done them all. And like, I've done them at a decent level as well, like the private label stuff, maybe I had 10 products or something in this range. So like I've actually applied myself to these business models. When I show people, even though I never talked about private label really, when I show people the level at which I was doing it at, they're always shocked. There's still stuff out there, and they're quite shocked at like what level I did it at, because most people, private label, they stuck a label on a unbranded generic product and they sold it as their own brand. I was like proper building a brand and stuff. But anyway, I didn't know what to do coming out of the nightclub game, so I just started playing around with stuff. Ended up in the Amazon world with the intention of actually talking about how to make money online, and that's all I wanted to do, because I'd done it for over a decade before that in loads of different stuff. So I wanted to talk about that, and then I went into the Amazon thing as my first kind of foray into teaching people how to make money online. And then somehow it was like a vortex. I don't even like mentioning Amazon on this channel because I'm so uninterested in it, so deeply uninterested in it, I can't even describe it. So, but yeah, I built up a little bit of an audience in that space. And I started to notice gaps in the market. So one of the gaps in the market was I had the funds from previous internet success and my nightclub and all that stuff, from previous stuff that I'd done. I'd had the funds to be able to essentially hire staff to build my Amazon business, or try and build my Amazon business. In hindsight, hiring staff for the business I was doing at the time wasn't the right move, but I had the funds to do that. And I thought at the time, and one of the things I was doing is I was using that member of staff to analyze deals, to find products that were profitable if you flipped them on online e-commerce sites. And that was the kind of thing that I was doing at the time. So buying stuff in the real world and selling it online for more, double or whatever. So I hired a member of staff to be able to do that, to be able to kind of have my focus on other things when I was doing the e-commerce stuff. But I was making content, I had a little community, I was building, a small movement at the time. So I hired this girl to run my Amazon business so I could focus more on the other stuff, or at least find me products. And I wouldn't say that was a wholly successful thing, like the hiring, like it was okay, but I always said to her, look, it's going to have to wash its own face. I've essentially not got an unlimited budget, but I can buy as much stock as you can find that's profitable, but you've got to wash your own face. It's got to cover your costs, kind of thing, and then hopefully some profit on top. And I don't know if it ever really did. So I justified keeping her because she was like a friend, and I'd had her around in the nightclub game, and then I brought her on into this new thing that I was doing, and it's like, I kind of justified her role by trying to give her other stuff and stuff. But at the time, I was like, look, I can afford to explore employing a full-paid, full-waged UK member of staff. Now, bear in mind, I'd done a lot with VAs previously, and I actually brought VAs to that industry. That nobody was hiring Filipino VAs before I put this, essentially, it was a course out there into that space, and now everybody in that space hires VAs. Nobody knows that come from me, but it did, and I remember, and it changed the game. But anyway, I thought I had a full-time UK member of staff who was earning good money with me, and she got to justify her expenses by trading enough to cover her costs and I don't know, it just wasn't fully working out, but I thought I can afford to do that and take the loss on that whilst it tries to kind of cover her costs, what she was like sourcing for me. But what if somebody else couldn't? You know, maybe they could hire a VA, and lots of people have done that since, but like, what if I made a software tool that could analyze deals like a human does, but I don't have to pay it? So I don't have to pay them an hourly wage or a salary. I don't have to pay them if they go on holiday or they're ill, or I don't have to pay any national insurance. Essentially, could I create a software bot that does what my employee did, but for essentially almost zero cost? So $20, $30 a month, as opposed to whatever it was at the time, $2,000 a month or whatever pounds. Like $20, $30 versus $2,000. Now again, you could get a VA, and a VA might cost you $600, $800 a month, $1,000 a month maybe if you're pushing it, something like that. Some will pay more, some will pay less, I'm sure. But like, so you've got full-time UK employee wage cost, and then you've got Filipino VA wage cost, and then you've got software tool. If I can make a software tool to essentially do that analysis process, then maybe other people could get into the game, and maybe other people could source profitably using my tool. So that's what I set about doing. At the time, I had some self-limiting belief, even though I've been in the game for like, I don't know, 15 years selling online, and obviously I'd seen people explode software as a service businesses. It was my perception at the time that it was too difficult, too expensive. There was security issues, and there was an insurmountable amount of technical barriers and knowledge barriers that prevented me from getting into the software as a service business. But it wasn't until somebody else built a tool in the same space and this guy was an absolute joker, that made me go, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. So that removed my self-limited beliefs about the technical barrier, and I just hired some coders to go set about building me some software that did what this employee did at the time. And yeah, so anyway, fast forward, I don't know what it was. I don't know how long we were developing it for. Maybe to MVP it was maybe a year. Maybe it was a year and a half. Maybe it was 6 months. I don't know, but I feel like it was maybe a year and a half-ish. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on the timeline. It was a simple Chrome extension, and it's expanded massively over time. It does way more now than it used to do. But what it did when we went to market was more comprehensive than any tool that had come before it. So other tools might estimate the sales on the platform. Other tools might tell you what price that it was selling for on the e-commerce website. I'm not going to say Amazon, but it was Amazon. And compare the price, and maybe it took into account some of the fees. Very, very, very basic. There was tools out there, but they were very basic. And I essentially, me and my business partner, created the most comprehensive tool of the time, and it was like 10 times better and more advanced than everything else that came before it. And it took the market by storm. Now, I had an advantage in that I'd built up trust, credibility, and this small audience, this small, very tightly niched audience of sellers in this space that were doing this business model by putting myself out there and teaching it for free. So I very much had the YouTube channel, and I was putting out free courses that were start to finish courses. Like, I gave freely, and I got a lot of goodwill by doing it. I often get people even now saying, oh, I never paid you anything, Matt, but I followed a course you did on YouTube and I made a bunch of money, so thanks for that. Like, I didn't even know it at the time, but that free content I was putting out actually impacted lives in a way that I've only really understood over time, as people have dribbled to me over time. When they meet me in person, they go, oh, thanks so much. I did one of your courses that was free, or I followed a couple of your videos or some of your posts in your community, and I was able to build a business from it. I made 100 grand or whatever the story is. And then a bunch of those people that I either knew in the community or felt like they knew me purchased my software. And because there was nothing else like it at the time, there was stuff like it, but there was nothing as advanced and nothing as good at what it did. Essentially, it could do what a human would do, and maybe at the time you'd spend 10-15 minutes analysing a deal properly. Yeah, you might get through one quicker if it's like definitely a non-deal. So let's say, for example, if it was available to buy for us as stock at £10 or dollars, whatever, £10, and it was selling on Amazon or on an e-commerce platform for £12, well, it's not going to be profitable because Amazon take their fees and all that stuff, so it's not going to work out. So that you could just reject, and that would take 10 seconds to reject that one. But when you're properly analysing one, maybe before my tool, it would take maybe 10-15 minutes to analyse it properly, and then maybe you make a buy decision, or maybe something along the lines, like once you're going through the kind of checklist of things to look for, at some point you go, and you might be 5 minutes into that 10-15 minute process and go, oh no, it's not a buy because of this, so you reject it. And then the search continues, no, but this might take 10-20 seconds to go, no. But then you'd have a human doing that. So maybe you could check a page of 100 deals, and maybe it would take you an hour, maybe it'd take you 2 hours. I don't know, I'm just making these figures up, but a long time ago, almost 10 years ago since I was doing this. But it was a labor intensive process. You had to understand how to spot a good deal. You had to look for all the red flags. It was a manual process. It was a labor intensive process. And if you're paying a UK wage like I was, it's an expensive process, and it didn't make sense. If you're going to buy 5 units of something, then you're only going to make £2-3 profit on them. You might make a tenner, might take £15. But if they spent 2 hours to find that deal, then it's a no-go. Like it's no good. But here's the thing. So I automated that process and made it one click in less than 7 seconds. So imagine you don't have to look at the deal. You don't have to be trained on looking at the deal. You could hire a VA to use the software, which speeds the VA up, makes them like superhuman, or you could do it yourself. And people using my software to one-click analyze deals just as good as a human could, if not better. And it would take less than 7 seconds for that entire process to happen. So all of a sudden, you'd gone from maybe finding a deal every hour or finding a deal every 2 hours into maybe being able to like 10x your speed, and maybe you find a deal in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a profitable deal. So you were finding deals more often. And so essentially that's what my software did. And I'd built up a following in that space because I've been putting free content out that was actually helpful and useful, and I had a lot of goodwill. So when I went to market and said, look, this is a really cool tool, I've built it, it does X, Y, Z, that other people's tools does, but it also does A, B, and C that no other tool on the planet does. And essentially it took that market by storm. Loads of people jumped on it. They loved the tool. It became an essential tool. You couldn't do that business model without my tool. And that was basically how I launched it from scratch. It was not believing I could build software like that because I wasn't a technical coder. Like I had no dev skills or any coding skills. And you needed them. You needed to hire a dev. So we hired a dev. And again, it was only by seeing this idiot go into the same space before me, just briefly before me, and me going, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So then that gave me the kind of impetus, if you like, to go, well, if they can do it, I can do it, so I'll do it. And we did it. And that was the basic story about how I got into SaaS. I've launched a bunch of SaaS since. I've even bought SaaS companies since. But we've built some SaaS, a lot of SaaS people will know about, some SaaS we've built internal or whatever they don't know about. We've built some that we've never launched. We've built some that we've only used internally. So we've not launched it for that reason. And we've built a bunch of stuff. So I've got a lot of experience in this space, and something over the last 12 months, really this year, 2025, has changed massively. And that is, I was obviously a no-code, non-technical founder, and I still am, right? That's gone into that space and hired human devs and spent years and hundreds of thousands of dollars per project to build these projects and have them become profitable businesses. Now you don't have to do that. Now you can become a no-code, non-technical founder like I have, but instead of hiring devs to do the work, and it'd be expensive and slow and frustrating, and you're having to deal with a human being, which is not always easy, you can now use AI to do everything that those coders could do. I don't want to say everything. I dare say you could probably do 90% right now of what human coders can do. There's still some highly technical stuff that you're going to struggle to get AI to do. But for your standard, typical B2B SaaS app, it's probably 90% of stuff you could build now. So if you want to build a Canva clone, you're not going to be able to do it with AI. If you want to build, never say never. All right, let me correct myself. You're not going to be able to do it with AI without already having a technical coding dev background. So there is still an advantage to being a coder dev, but not for long, and it's not worth going into, it's not worth learning, not if you've not already got that skill set. But if you've got that skill set, you've definitely got an advantage. But it just means that with a much smaller team than before, and much less deep pockets than before, so not a lot less money, you could potentially take on that 10% of projects where you wouldn't dare to do them before. So like trying to clone Canva, not a chance. Trying to clone Wix or Squarespace, you're going to struggle using AI as a no-code solopreneur. But some dashboard that some niche business users to manage their business, or to put out fee proposals and chase non-payment of fees or organize or automate processes that are slow and clunky and human labor intensive. These things are a doddle to do with AI. So I would say 90% of typical use cases for SaaS you could probably bang out with AI as a no-code founder if you're willing to go through the process. 10% of stuff is still not achievable now unless you're already dev or you've got a dev team or something like that. But that means there's a big whole market that's opened up for you now in 2025 as a no-code, non-technical founder that wasn't possible a year ago, but is possible now. So I've been essentially building SaaS businesses for almost the last decade with no technical knowledge, no code, founder, hiring people. And now I can start those businesses without hiring people, and I can build the software myself using AI and AI agents, which I couldn't do a year ago, but I can do now. And the thing is, you might say, yeah, but Matt, you know all about SaaS and stuff. No, you can do this now. I've been coaching people on how to do this over the last couple of months, one-to-one, and I've got a small group coaching program as well. But I've been coaching people one-to-one how to do this. I've got multiple people now that have built software as a service from start to finish that have built software that should have took 2 or 3 years and should have cost $200,000 or $300,000 for a 2-man dev team to build. And I've got my students to essentially follow the process, bouncing off me, hive mind, me and them, steering them along the way, guiding them, nudging them when they need to, helping them make decisions, showing them what to do next, making sure they don't go down that rabbit hole they don't need to go to, and keep on track. And now they've built software that should have took them 2 or 3 years, $200,000 or $300,000 if they're doing it on a budget, $200,000 or $300,000, 2 years, and they've done it in 2 months. Ready to go. Tiny icing on the cake. They are like perfectionists, which frustrates me. But they're like perfectionists, they want it to be perfect, but they've smashed through MVP, so minimum viable product, smashed through it. These are full-featured, heavy-duty apps that should have took 2 or 3 years to build, and they've built them in 2 months with zero code. Now, as part of the process, I give them access to technical devs, because going into this, I imagined there was some stuff that AI wasn't going to be able to do, where they would definitely need somebody to dig into the code and do some like coding and fix some stuff. There's not a single one of them, even though they get weekly access to my devs, my dev coaches that have got over 20 years experience coding software. senior devs that have built big projects from start to finish. They know what they're doing. They get access to them. My devs haven't written or looked at a single line of code for any of my students, even though that option is available to them. It's literally that good with the AI and AI agents now that people with no technical knowledge and no dev experience, no coding experience, are able, with the AI and AI agents, to build fully fledged AI software as a service from start to finish that equals stuff that I know for a fact would have took them 2 or 3 years to build. It's a thing. I can't wait to get them on here. I've had a couple of them say, yeah, I'd love to jump on the channel. So I'm actually going to get them on here in the coming weeks and to show you the projects, talk you through their journey and all that stuff, because I think it would be fascinating for you. But like, whoever you are watching this, right, you can now build software as a service. The technical barrier and the deep pockets that was there before has been removed. It just has. Like I say, all of my coaching clients, my group students, my one-to-one mentees, all of them have got access to my devs, and there's not been a line of code that they've had to affect. They ask them a few questions, but honestly, like, I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked. So now, whoever you are now watching this, and I don't know if you're somebody that's picked me up from YouTube, like content that I've done in the past, or Dubai content, or know me from years ago or whatever. I don't know who's watching this, but whoever you are right now, you can now go into the best business model there has ever been online. And arguably some people might say, well, no, having your own e-commerce brand is better. Yeah, if you're a Gymshark, of course it's better, because you can become a billionaire. But that's Ben Francis or whatever. Like, he kind of, I don't want to say got lucky, but he was definitely right place, right time, made the right moves, you know, leveraged influencer marketing. I would argue it was private label what he was doing, and props to him. Huge global brand, Gymshark. But most people that going into private label aren't achieving those kind of results, you know, and like there's a lot of SaaS that are multi-billion dollar projects as well. So there's always going to be those people that shoot out of the park whatever business model. You know, I'm sure there's people that have made tens of millions in drop shipping. I don't know any, but I'm sure there are. You know, there's people I know that have made tens of millions in all kinds of different business models, me included. I'm, like I say, $23 million plus. And I say $1 million plus because that's when I stopped counting. I was counting for the tax man, but without getting all my old accounts the last 23 years, I don't know how much I've made exactly on paper, but I know I've made $23 million. So I can say, look, it's $23 million plus. It could be $35 million. It could be $40 million. I don't know, but it's more than $23 million. So I'm one of them with very, very small projects. I've been the kind of person that as soon as I'm making a few hundred grand a year, I take my foot off the gas and I just go comfortable. I've never desired to be Elon Musk. I've never wanted to be a billionaire. I've never, you know, I came from the council estate. I had nothing. To make a few hundred grand a year in my spare time, like working an hour or two a week, you know, and have the freedom to do what I want, that's seemingly been enough for me. I think I might look back and go, I wish I would have pushed harder, sooner, stayed on it, but my journey is the journey, you know? And to say where I come from, people that knew me back then think I've done all right. I live in Dubai. I've had a property portfolio, precious metals, stocks and shares, crypto. Like, I've invested quite a lot. I've had nice cars. I've gone on nice holidays. I've not done too bad for myself. And that's coming from nothing. So, like, better than anybody, I know what it's like to go from zero, wherever you are right now. Maybe you're in a job, maybe you're unemployed, I don't know. But to go from zero to 100K a year, I am an absolute expert at that. Now, to go from zero to 100 million, I am not an expert at that. I've not done that yet, but I wouldn't claim to be. But can I go from zero to 100K a year? I'm very, very, very good at that. Very good at that. So if you want to go from 0 to 10K a month in the software as a service business model, hey, you can build software yourself. Crack on, give it your best shot. But the reality is, even though the technical barrier has been lifted, the real trick is in the business side of it now. It's making the right decisions. It's knowing how to drive sales. It's knowing how to drive marketing visibility and not have to do that by paying through the nose for it and all that stuff. It's the business side of it that actually determines whether you're going to be a success or a failure in the software as a service business model. And now AI has removed the technical barrier. I can help you build a business in the software as a service space, even if you've got no code experience, no deep pockets. Essentially, if you're watching this video now with my guidance, albeit I can't promise a penny and I never will, earnings disclaimer and all that, I can help you go from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 5, 10K a month, maybe 20K a month, and some people that join me on this journey might go to 50K a month, 100K a month, or beyond. You know, I can help you do that. And I've actually got a coaching program. If you're interested, check it out in the link below. But it's taking you on a journey that you couldn't go on before, and you can do that now with AI and AI agents. So to answer the initial question, how do you build a software as a service business from scratch? Well, even though I launched it off the back of a small audience I built, I've sold a lot of things in a lot of different niches, most of which I've never had an audience and never been a face of. And I'm quite good at going from 0 to 100K a year. In businesses, I just am. Like one after another, again after again. Like whether it's our prep center, that's a physical business, whether it's small $50 online courses, whether it's higher ticket coaching programs, whether it's software as a service, or whether it's private label, whatever business model I've gone into, I'm very good at going from a standing start to 100K a year, and that's the hard bit. You ask any millionaire, multimillionaire, they'll tell you it's easier to go from 100K to $1 million than it is from 0 to 100K. Ask anybody. Like, it's just the way it is, right? So the hardest bit is getting traction in the first place, and that's the bit I'm really good at. And you could do it. You just need a product to sell, right? And now with AI and AI agents, you can create that product on your own, in your spare time, faceless, single person business. You can build it passive, to be passive income, and you can run it from anywhere. So you can do it from the boardroom, the bedroom, or the beach. This is an amazing business model. There's a window of opportunity right now whereby not everybody even knows how good this business model is. And so hardly anyone knows how good the business model is. And even less people know you can actually build it now as a solo person, no technical, no code founder, from scratch, on your own, in your bedroom, boardroom or the beach, in your spare time, for less than $1,000. And you can build it up. Imagine, let's say you used AI and AI agents, and you spent $300 to $1,500 to build your software. You've got something saleable that routinely will sell for maybe $30, $50, $100 a month, right? You haven't got to get many customers at $100 a month to cover your $1,000 cost. Let's say it does cost you that to set up. And I don't prescribe to this, spend loads of money to launch your product. I don't think you need to. I think you can essentially do that for free. So you build it in 2 months for less than $1,000-ish. You launch it essentially for free with a little bit of blood, sweat and tears and some strategies that just work if you apply them. And all of a sudden, within 2-3 months from now, you can go from scratch to having a business that's maybe making 1, 2, 3, 5K a month, passive, in your spare time without having to do anything. No stock to buy, no devs to hire, no customer service to hire. AI and AI agents doing it. It's a spectacular business model, right? You just follow simple, proven mechanisms that just get you there. If you do it, you'll get the success. Earnings disclaimer, I'm not promising you a penny, but you just do the process, you'll get the money. Worst case scenario, you learn all the skills you need. It don't work out maybe as much as you wanted it to, and you spin up another project. 2 months later, you've got another business. You can try that one if the first one didn't work. But honestly, if you go through this process, it will work. I realize some people will watch this, not realize that there's some nuance to what I've said, try it and it won't work for them. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're my client, you go through this process and you follow along and you listen to me and just do what I tell you, you can go from zero to not having an absolute clue what you're doing to having a saleable, scalable SaaS product within 2-3 months and a real life business. Maybe you hit the ground running 2-3 months from now, you've got something that's making you 1, 2, 5K a month. And by 2026, you might have scaled it to 10, 20, 50K a month. Why not? The software as a service business model is truly scalable. So how do you do it from scratch? Look, you start with an idea, you get it bloody built, and you launch it. Simple as that. And you see what happens. As long as you're unwilling to quit, there's nothing to stop you from making an absolute fortune in the best business model and the best window of opportunity right now, where not everybody's doing it because they don't know about it, and you can get a head start over people. And the AI tools are the worst they're ever going to be, and they're already good enough to get you 99.9% of the way there. Probably no, you can get 100% of the way there. You just those weird like Canva. You try and clone Canva, you ain't cloning that with AI, not yet. Give it 2 years, who knows? But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully that was inspirational or helpful for somebody. If you've got any questions or you want me to make a video about something specific, ask me what it is or tell me what it is in the comments down below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.